Well, this article here discusses the ongoing debate about whether 8 gigabytes of VRAM is enough in 2025 for playing modern PC games. And myself personally, I say no, absolutely, it's not enough. Now, you might be thinking, well, if you're only playing games, even modern ones at 1080p, 8 gigabytes of VRAM is enough. No, not really. Not unless you are utilizing NVIDIA's fancy fake frames, AI, upscaling technologies, and such. Well, if you like this content, I usually push out a technology video of some sort every single day. Give me a bit more of a push, because when I see those likes and subscriptions, well, it would give anyone encouragement, right? You can do all this stuff at the top here, like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Now, it isn't as simple as just looking at the amount of VRAM that a video card has, and I'll use two cards as an example, and that is illustrated in this article right here. For example, an RTX 4060 Ti and an RTX 3060 Ti, the on-die cache in that case does influence the overall performance, but these cards have the same amount of VRAM. Keep in mind that data flows from storage to VRAM, and then it goes to a much faster but smaller cache near the GPU core. And of course, the game engine has a lot to do with this as well. Some game engines will allocate a lot of VRAM, which is excellent in some ways, because if you have enough, you can keep enabling features and keep enabling all kinds of eye candy. But of course, it will keep chewing up VRAM. Now, if you have 24 gigabytes of it, you don't really care. But if you have 8 gigabytes of it, well, you do care. And you can see the problem. So I'll use an example here. For example, in the game Call of Duty, which uses the Infinity Ward engine, that engine will only allocate the available amount of VRAM. So if you have only 8, it won't go beyond 8, probably a little bit below, to avoid all kinds of stuttering and video problems. So VRAM usage in a game, for example, should obviously not exceed the amount of VRAM that you have. Now, when the frame buffer becomes completely saturated, meaning all of the VRAM has been used, well, that's a major problem, because your game is going to have all kinds of hiccups. It's going to stutter, it's going to glitch out, it could crash, and so on. So in order to avoid this, you want to have more VRAM, and as I mentioned, 8 gigabytes is not enough, not for games in 2025. Now, you might be asking, what happens when you run out of VRAM? Well, you use system memory, which is nowhere as fast as VRAM, and of course, that means that your game is going to have issues. And you'll see this with modern games that are very demanding, like, for example, Stalker 2, the new Indiana Jones game, The Last of Us Part 1, and Hogwarts, but there are other games, of course, and many, many more coming that are brand new that are going to require you to have a video card that has more than 8 gigabytes of memory. What I would recommend is try to save yourself a little bit more, give yourself a bit more of a budget when it comes to the video card. I know, life in general has become so unaffordable. However, I don't see the point of getting something that you're not going to be happy with, first of all, and it's not going to future-proof your purchase. So every chance I get, I tell anybody who will listen, do not get a video card in 2025 for gaming that has 8 gigabytes of memory. And if you're like me and a little bit into technology, and anyone asks you that question, you should probably advise them of the same thing. Because let's face it, when your game runs out of VRAM, it uses system memory, and you're going to have all kinds of issues with games. And you're going to then, if you're not, if you don't know what's happening, you're going to be thinking it's the driver's fault, or it's your system's fault, or there's something else going on. But really it's because you don't have enough VRAM. Now, if you must go out there and buy a video card that has 8 gigabytes of memory in it because of your budget, keep in mind that newer video cards will have AI built into it and the drivers and as well the games to help mitigate the fact that you don't have enough VRAM. But of course, that means reducing the textures, and that means the overall visuals are not going to be that great.